Liverpool have beaten Real Madrid in the Champions League by 2-0, and in this video we're going to be breaking down how they did it, including a tactical change that Arne Slot's side used to dominate the European champions. Jude Bellingham said that Liverpool were better than Real Madrid in this game and that they dominated large parts of the match. But how did they do it? Well, one of the main aspects was their defensive play. The compactness of their side, both from a back line point of view and an offensive line point of view, really restricting space in the pitch for the likes of Diaz and Bellingham, really was the beginning starting point for this Liverpool defence. What ended up happening is it forced Bellingham to come out wide, in particular into this left-hand channel, helping out with Kylian Mbappe. Diaz almost did the same thing, dropping over to this left-hand side, occasionally to the right, but the point is there was no one within the centre of the pitch, and this was down to Liverpool's compactness of play. The narrowness of this side and the compactness within the lines between the defensive line and the offensive line meant that there was no space in the centre of the pitch of Liverpool's side, and it meant that Real Madrid were not able to penetrate through this, forcing them to go out wide. Once they went out wide, it was then down to the duels between the Real Madrid attackers and obviously the Liverpool defenders. Conor Bradley, I thought, had a fantastic game, and Andy Robertson played his part as well. But when it forced Real Madrid out to these sides, what ended up happening is even if they managed to get past the Liverpool fullbacks and really attack the spaces down the left and right hand channels, what Real Madrid found was that once they attempted to look to cross into the box, there was no one there, meaning that Liverpool were able to recycle possession much easier, and then once they did regain possession, they were able to utilise the space that Real Madrid had left on both the left and right hand channels to be able to launch a counter-attack of their own, and they did this to pretty fantastic effect. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Kylian Mbappe currently has the ball right here, but look at the compactness of this Liverpool side. You've got your striker here in Darwin Núñez, and you've obviously got your back line. Look how high they are. That line is extremely good, and then this is the offensive line. Look at the compactness of play. There's barely any space to work in here, and the aggressiveness of Liverpool's midfield meant that there was no space for the likes of Diaz, for the likes of Güler, and when Mbappe ended up moving into these central areas, it was very difficult for him. Mo Salah in this particular instance, following him, nicking the ball off him, and then able to launch a counter-attack for Liverpool in this instant. And look how devastating this is. Look, you've got the channels here, you've got the channels here, Diaz occupying here, you've got Salah over here, Núñez is about to play a pass over to Salah, and it was brilliantly executed. Salah's about to reverse that pass into Núñez yet again, but it's all about occupying that space, taking that space that's been afforded to them, and they wouldn't have been able to regain possession if it wasn't down to the compactness of play and the diligence of that brilliant Liverpool midfield. But defensively was not the only way that Liverpool dominated this match. It was actually the utilisation of the football that allowed them to not only get their goals, but also to pen Real Madrid into their own half for extended periods of time, and this is how they did it. This is a simulation of Liverpool's setup against Madrid. Real Madrid set up defensively in a 4-4-2, meaning that they had the two strikers just ahead of a midfield four, forcing Camavinga and Modric to do quite a lot of work in the centre of the park against Liverpool's three midfielders, these midfielders being Curtis Jones, Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister. Now, what ended up happening was the positioning of the fullbacks became extremely crucial. Robertson and Bradley moving out of their respective left back and right back roles into more offensively based scenarios. And what this ended up happening was that Bradley moved forwards, Robertson moved forwards, and it naturally pushed back Güler and Bellingham. Bellingham's position was extremely crucial here because he needed to come across and help with Salah when necessary, but he also needed to maintain his width here because of Conor Bradley. Due to the 3v2 nature of Liverpool's setup, it meant that they always had a numerical advantage in the centre of the park, meaning when Curtis Jones decided to move over to the left, it brought over Camavinga, and this had a huge knock-on effect because what it ended up doing was it left a whole heap of space in the centre of the pitch. This was space that was isolated and occupied by Connor Bradley, making darting runs into the box and therefore forcing Jude Bellingham back even further. It was this level of dominance that allowed Liverpool to maintain possession, because simply Real Madrid did not have an outball. Mbappe was beaten by pace and by physicality by Konate and Van Dijk, or he was marked out of the game, and Diaz failed to really gain any kind of foothold within the match. Mendy was too far back to be able to make darting runs forwards, and it left Real Madrid with nearly no option, and this was down to the dominance of that Liverpool midfield, but it was facilitated by the play from Connor Bradley and to a point from Andy Robertson. These two positions were the key to Liverpool dominating this Real Madrid side, forcing them back and allowing Liverpool to assert their dominance. Let me give you an example. This is Liverpool in a build-up to an opportunity, but if we were to break this down really quick, it highlights what they did so well positionally, in particular with the fullbacks. You've got your back two right here with Van Dijk and Konate. You've got Gravenberch, who's your obvious holding midfield pivot. You've got Alexis McAllister, who's one of your attacking midfielders, and over here you've got Curtis Jones. Luis Diaz has swapped with him and moved infield, still taking up an attacking midfield role. But look at the movement of these two fullbacks. You've got Andy Robertson out on this left-hand side, and here is where you would find Connor Bradley. Now, what they did so interestingly is they actually had a good relationship with the positioning of Ryan Gravenberch. You'd have Bradley here, you'd have Robertson here, and you've got Gravenberch here. It almost created like an extra line of midfield players, unlocking Alexis McAllister and Curtis Jones to be able to go forwards. In this particular scenario, we have Alexis McAllister about to play a pass, and he's about to play a pass to Connor Bradley, but he's not here because he's here. He's making a run in beyond past Jude Bellingham, but look how deep Bellingham is. Look how deep he is with the rest of his group. You've got the two attackers, you've got the defensive line of Real Madrid, which is so very deep. Look how close they are towards their box. And then you've got Connor Bradley making that run in beyond, and he gets so close to it as it gets looped over by Alexis McAllister. He's now in between the Real Madrid defenders. Look at this. He's in between Mendy and Rudiger, and he gets his head onto it. It's so very close. But again, if we take this back for a touch, it's down to the positioning and the starting position that Bradley had. He was here, and Bellingham was so deep because of the offensive positioning of Bradley, and it's been enabled due to the brilliant positioning of the rest of the Liverpool midfielders. It is fantastic. And this was a telltale sign of things to come, because it actually gets featured in their goal that they scored. And this is it. So let's break this down. So you've got the two defenders. You've got Robertson, who's currently on the ball. You've got Gravenberch as the midfield pivot. But look how aggressive Connor Bradley is yet again. And look how much he's pulled Jude Bellingham away. Bellingham can't go press. He can't go and do anything. He has to make sure that Bradley is occupied. The ball is currently with Robertson, but due to the positioning of Robertson in tandem with Ryan Gravenberch and Connor Bradley, it gives both McAllister and Jones the license to go forwards. This overloads certain areas and it leaves Modric and Camavinga with so much work to do. Look at Arda Güler, who's had to move infield to help with this. Look how free Curtis Jones is out on this left-hand side. It's so very well done by Liverpool, and the positional play is absolutely sublime. The ball gets played through into Curtis Jones, and then that's when things start to happen. As the ball gets played through, look at Alexis McAllister. Because of the movement of these players, Camavinga has been drawn across, Modric has been drawn across, but Arda Güler making that challenge, making that run. And look at McAllister. As this moves on, look at McAllister. Look how much space there is. And this is because they are rotating these Real Madrid players. They're moving them about. And they've left a whole heap of space for one of Liverpool's midfielders to really feature. Again, look at Connor Bradley and look at the position he's taking up, keeping Bellingham away from this central area. It's so very well done. Then you're going to have a pass into Alexis McAllister. Once again, look how much space he's in. Look at where Bellingham is now as well. He's in the box. Look at Conor Bradley in the box. Danger, danger, huge danger. But it also means that Real Madrid can't go and press out because there's so much commitment from Liverpool in this attacking area. As it gets played through, you've got Alexis McAllister and he's able to turn. Real Madrid now sense the danger on the outside of the box, but it's the 1-2 that now gets played. Extremely quick passes on the outside or inside the box are so very difficult to do, especially if they're one touch. Just so happens it passes into Bradley, who gives it back with a singular touch, allowing Alexis McAllister to take the ball on the run. He doesn't have to stop, he doesn't have to wait. He wastes no time whatsoever and takes the ball in his stride. That is key, that is imperative. And as he takes the ball in his stride, it just takes another moment away and actually isolates Rudiger out of this situation entirely. It gives him an opportunity to have a shot onto goal, and it is a perfectly weighted shot to the bottom left-hand corner. But one more final thing to look at is even if Courtois parries it, he has to parry it really far out, else there's 1, 2, and you could argue even 3 Liverpool players ready to pounce on this singular moment. But it's the positional play of Bradley and of Robertson in tandem with everyone else unlocking the midfielders that allowed this goal to come forwards. Finally guys, before we end, let's take a look at that Liverpool second goal, the goal that cemented the victory for them against Real Madrid. It obviously was this corner, but there were a couple of things about this corner that I thought were really interesting. The first one being the fact that Liverpool took a short corner. Now this did a couple of things. The first one being is it really unsettled this Real Madrid back line. Because of the way that the corner ended up unfolding, Real Madrid wanted to push up as much as possible. In doing this, they wanted to try and catch any Liverpool player who wanted to lurk offside. Obviously, the closer to the goal, the more dangerous it's going to be. So they wanted to push up a little bit higher, but due to the fact that they took a short corner, you need to make sure that you're all organised. It just so happens that Real Madrid weren't in this particular instance, and that's mistake number 1. Because they have played a short corner, it gives Robertson the opportunity to be able to come a little bit closer to goal. This gives him a better angle for the cross and find one of his Liverpool teammates a little bit easier. The third thing that it does is it allows Liverpool to really create a little bit more chaos. You've got a couple of really holding off, you've got a couple of blocks coming in, and you've also got a good moment for a player who's tall and strong like Cody Gakpo to be able to get his head on it. As the ball gets whipped in by Andy Robertson, you've got a whole heap of chaos in and around this area. The Real Madrid defence is unsettled, the Liverpool players are ready, and you've got a better angle for the cross. And as it goes into the box, you've got Luka Modric, who is right here, who actually isn't in line with the rest of his Real Madrid teammates. Rudiger is probably the most dangerous in terms of a defensive set-piece player, and you've got him being pushed up with this Real Madrid back line, but Modric is keeping them on. This is crucial because it means that Cody Gakpo and the rest of the Liverpool teammates are actually being played onside. So as the ball gets whipped in by Andy Robertson in this moment, you've actually got a huge problem for the Real Madrid defence. And then it's about the header. Can Cody Gakpo climb above the rest of these Real Madrid players? With Rudiger out of the picture because he's been moved away, he can, and it's a brilliantly weighted cross. It's a fantastic header, and it cemented Liverpool's 2-0 victory. Liverpool were absolutely fantastic. I was so very impressed with their aggression, their tenacity, and their all-round play. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.